Hello, welcome to the Pirate Preacher, where we explore the words of the first wave walker and battle life's storms. Arg! Ye ready for to sail with Jesus, mate? If so, climb aboard!
Ahoy there, mateys, and welcome aboard for another deep dive into, well, the good book.
Shiver me timbers, that's right. And tonight we find ourselves on the deck of a ship, a sturdy vessel creaking beneath our feet, salt spray in the air.
You know the drill by now, folks. We've got a sea chest overflowing with your request, verses you've sent in from Proverbs, Leviticus.
Deuteronomy, Joshua, a real treasure trove.
All pointing us to God's promises, but specifically tonight I'm seeing a lot about diligence and obedience.
And generosity, right? Three principles that hold true, whether you're charting a course across the ocean or just navigating daily life.
Well said, well said. Let's see how this plays out. As the pirate preacher takes the helm, I hear his booming voice even now.
He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Proverbs 10.4, me hearties. And Proverbs 21.5, it adds this. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty.
He's not mincing words, is he?
Not at all. Setting the course straight away, hard work, careful planning, these are the essentials for success.
Think of it like this. A ship can't function if the crew's lazy and disorganized.
It takes a whole lot of sweat and teamwork to keep things running smoothly.
But wait, I hear a grumble from near the galley. Crew member 1. Plenty of hard workers on this ship, preacher. And we ain't seen no mountains of gold yet. The voice of skepticism. It's easy to feel that way when you're putting in the work and not seeing the payoff you expected.
Right, but it's not just about working hard. These verses highlight working smart.
Aye, lad, are you working smart? With God's plan as your compass. Proverbs 13.4 tells us, a lazy soul desires but gets nothing. Diligence ain't just sweat, it's following the captain's orders.
Now he's tying diligence to obedience. It's not just about elbow grease, but working with God.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The ultimate captain here is God himself. By following his guidance, we position ourselves to receive his blessings.
Leviticus 26.3-5, it lays it out clear. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season. The land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last till the time of vintage, and the vintage shall last till the time of sowing. You shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. Crew member 2. Sounds like a king's bargain, preacher. But what proof do we have that he'll hold up his end?
Fair question, isn't it? We all want that assurance that our efforts will be met with God's faithfulness.
And the Bible does speak to this. It's not about blind trust, but recognizing the patterns of God's faithfulness throughout history.
Deuteronomy 28.111, me hearty. Listen close. If you diligently obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all his commandments which I command you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the earth. Blessings on your cities, your fields, your children, your livestock, even victory over your enemies.
He's talking about an abundance in all areas of life, not just material wealth, but every kind of blessing you can imagine.
And he's framing these blessings as a result of obedience. It's not about trying to manipulate God or earn his favor, but aligning ourselves with his principles.
It ain't just about riches, it's about everything that makes life worth living.
A life lived in harmony with God's will, that's the picture he's painting. But what does it really mean to obey? Is it blind following or something more?
Now that is a question worth pondering, and I suspect the pirate preacher is about to dive into that very topic.
Now, lads, obedience ain't blind following. It's knowing the captain's heart. Joshua 1.7 thing, it tells us this. Be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success.
Crew member 3. So preacher, if we're blessed, what then? Hoard it all for ourselves?
Interesting question. It is tempting to think that God's blessings are just for our benefit, you know.
But these verses, they point to something different, a real emphasis on generosity, sharing what we've been given.
A true pirate shares his bounty. Proverbs 11.25, here it is. The generous soul will be made rich, and he who waters will also be watered himself. God ain't some stingy urchin, no, sir. He's a king throwing a feast. Give, and he'll give back overflowing. Luke 6.38, mark my words.
I love that image, a generous king showering us with blessings and then inviting us to share in that abundance.
And this generosity, it's not just about material stuff. It's our time, our talents, our compassion for others.
Now listen up. Even before we give, he provides. Psalm 115.1, the Lord gives increase to us and our children. Even when the storms rage, he's our shepherd. No matter what, we lack nothing.
The powerful reminder that even when things are tough, God's provision is constant. We can trust he's taking care of us.
It goes back to that idea of God's faithfulness. Not about avoiding the storms altogether, but knowing we have a captain who's going to guide us through. Crew member 4. What if we still feel lost, preacher? Adrift like we're in a fog bank?
Even with all these promises, sometimes that doubt creeps in, doesn't it?
It's human to feel that way, but the Bible, it gives us guidance for those moments too.
Then you ask, hey, lad, seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened. Matthew 7.7 or 8. God wants us to come to him. You see, God ain't just about making us comfortable, no, sir. He's got a mission for us. Genesis 12.2 lays it out. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing.
So our lives, they have purpose. God has a plan for each one of us.
And a purpose that goes way beyond our own needs and desires. We're meant to be a blessing to others, reflecting God's love.
He gave his own son for us. Romans 8.32. How could he withhold anything good from us? This life, lads, it's just the beginning. Revelation 21.4, it speaks of a place with no tears, no death, and no pain. That's our true destination.
Powerful reminder, isn't it? Our struggles, no matter how tough, they're temporary, and we have an eternal hope to cling to.
The pirate preacher, he's painted quite a picture tonight. A life filled with purpose, with abundance, and in the end, an eternity of joy.
What stands out to you?
I think it's the sheer scope of God's promises. It's almost overwhelming.
Like he's woven all these different verses into one, magnificent tapestry. And it reveals that narrative of God's love.
And it's not a passive love, is it? It's a love that calls us to action.
So crew, align yourselves with his word. There's no limit to what he can do through us.
There's a challenge, right? It's time to put these truths into practice, live out these promises.
It's about trusting that the captain, he knows the best course, even when the seas get rough.
So as we head back to our own lives, what are some of the key takeaways?
Well, first, remember diligence and obedience. It's not about mindless work. It's about seeking God's guidance, trusting in his wisdom.
And then that generosity flows naturally when our hearts are aligned with God. When we experience his abundance, we're meant to share it.
Right. And even when we face those challenges, we can trust in his provision and his faithfulness. He's always there,
guiding us through those storms.
This deep dive, it's been an incredible journey, hasn't it? Exploring those depths of God's promises.
And it leaves us with this thought. What's one area of your life where you need to lean into those promises today?
Yeah, what compass heading do you need to adjust to align yourself with his will? And what will you do about it? Will you step out in faith, trusting the captain who guides your every step? May your journey be filled with blessings as vast as the ocean itself. May your journey be filled with blessings as vast as the ocean itself.
Thanks for sailing with the Pirate Preacher. May you enjoy fair winds and smooth swells on life's journey.